3, 2, 1, go. Well, hello. I'm Gustavo Acosta from Triad of the Force, here joined with David Shayne and Ken Cunningham, the writers and directors of the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation Special. How's it going, guys?
Excellent. Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much.
I'm surprised that Scarif Beach survived after the attack by on Rogue One, but it's nice to see that it's thriving. One of my favorite beaches environments, considering that I'm from the Caribbean. So it's nice to see that tourism is alive and well in Scarif.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. It's a lovely beach, and I'm going to head over to the hotel later. And
yeah, I hope they have a nice bar so you can just lounge and wash off after get all that crummy sand off. But thanks for being with us, guys. We're so excited to talk to you and to talk about this awesome special. Like truly, it's been my favorite one so far. They're all really fun, but this one in particular has kind of, I mean, obviously I'm biased. I'm from a land of summer, so I like to see a summer celebration. It's always a cool thing. So let's get started. Like we had a couple of questions here for you guys to discuss this wonderful special. So we've obviously seen the first one that was done, the holiday special, the Christmas theme, holiday theme special, and then we saw Terrifying Tales. So obviously we're doing a seasonal trend here. So my first question, and my obvious question to start off, is how did we end up on summer vacation, especially after this journey we had from the holidays and the Terrifying Tales?
Yeah, as you know, so as we're in the middle of kind of wrapping up production on when the Lucasfilm and the Lego gang and I, these are incredibly fun to do, and we all enjoy working together. So we start going, well, what can we do next? And someone just kind of mentioned road trip, summer vacation. What does that look like? And it goes, well, what does that look like if we're doing that in Star Wars? You could go to Endor, you could go to Scarif. We've got these beautiful beaches, and you start piecing those things together. And so we just went, oh yeah, let's do a summer vacation special. Let's, I guess it's not an official holiday, but it's certainly a time where people go and celebrate. I think it's very, a familiar thing for all of us. We've all been on, or most of us have been lucky enough to go on road trips with our families, and generally disaster ensues. I won't speak for your family. It certainly growing up did for mine, and does now when I take my own kids out. So it just went from, oh, well, that would be a really fun place to space to play in. And so that was how it started.
Awesome. And obviously this one and all the other ones are framed in these little snippets, right? Of these small stories that tell a message that ties into the larger message of what the special is talking about. Obviously, summer vacation is about kind of enjoying the things that you're doing and loving the time that you're with the people that you're with. So, and that obviously there's 3 parts here where we have 3 main characters talk to Finn about some of their summer experiences with their family and friends. But when you're writing these stories, how do you choose what happens first? Is the theme of the story, do the themes come first, or do the characters come first? And if the themes come first, how do you decide which characters are going to represent those themes?
They often kind of show up as you begin asking questions and talk about things, and they sort of end up kind of, one will inform the other, and you'll kind of go back and forth. We knew we really liked the format that we had in Terrifying Tales of telling this kind of wraparound story with our episode or our sequel trilogy characters, and so we wanted to go and send them on vacation. And then we really like in Lego Star Wars to include as much of the timeline as we can. So we knew we kind of wanted to tell 3 distinct stories, much as we did from 3, one from the prequels, one from the main trilogy, one from the sequel trilogy. And so you start telling those, and we realized pretty quickly, the way to tell these is through these Force ghosts who kind of each, as you said, tell their family vacation story. I will say kind of early on, we knew we wanted, I was mentioning those road trips, and we really felt we want to tell one of those in Lego Star Wars. And we realized we had the Organa Solo family, and it was a great way to do that. So that actual story, I would say, of all the story elements, was the one that was sort of the first that got the most fleshed out. And so as I was saying, each thing kind of informs the other. And you start with an idea of what the themes are, and then oftentimes something else will reveal itself, and you go, oh, that's good. Let's incorporate that too. So it often will build on itself too.
So to that extent, actually, now I'm curious, like, has there been during the writing process or the creation process, has there been a moment where like you think a certain character like is the one to take the lead, like in that story, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is not working. Maybe we should like backtrack and choose someone else.
It certainly can happen. I think in this one we knew pretty early on that Finn felt like the right person to bring front and center. We were hoping that would be the case since we had gotten to do Rey first and Poe, and we realized really quickly it actually really kind of dovetailed, kind of your question earlier about theme, like what sort of tied together and made sense. So yeah, that was a case where that all came together actually pretty quickly and easily. It doesn't always, but this one it really all felt pretty natural from the beginning.
Awesome. And my next question, actually, you kind of like answered it already, but I wanted to kind of touch on it a bit because it's something that I really do appreciate about the work that all of you have been doing with these Lego stories. And it's like the balance between like all the different eras of the Star Wars, from the prequels to the originals, and particularly the sequel trilogy. I know there's like a lot of fans of the sequel trilogy out there, myself included, and to see it, be kind of at the forefront and like have all these characters in the post episode 9 world is, having fun and enjoying their lives, after the defeat of Emperor Palpatine again.
Wait, what?
It's kind of wait.
Spoilers. Stop! Come on.
Sippity sap. But to see all that is like really, really cool. And I mean, and obviously you already said that it's that balance is important. So I don't need to ask you because that was going to be my question, like how important is that balance? But to that point, everyone, I think the term online is that these Lego stories are kind of canon adjacent. Obviously, they don't have to like rule themselves strictly, right, by anything that's like happening here. They can play fast and loose a little bit with some of the things that are happening here. But that leads me to a question, right, which is like, the Lego specials are known for like being a little irreverent, a lot of fun, and kind of, doing what they want to do to tell like a fun and wholesome story. But within that, in the Star Wars canon, like how free are you to like bend the rules and like diverge from it? Is that something that you feel like you're constrained by? Do you have like pretty much open freedom to break away from canon?
Yeah, the canon adjacent phrase is right, and we try to be respectful of canon while getting to have a little fun tweaking it. So we want things to actually line up correctly with the timeline. If characters weren't around, then we don't magically insert them, and we try to be respectful of that. I think where we have fun is sort of taking those characters and seeing them through the prism of Lego, which does, going all the way back to the video games, gives you some license to incorporate some silly little offbeat gags and things will show up. I think certainly Ken can talk to like the visual of what that means.
Yeah, it gives you like a play box to play in, but I mean it's still always coming from the spirit of canon, and like and a love of the material. So I mean, yeah, sure, we'll push some stuff out there, but yeah, it's always like done from a place of love for the material. And we work with Leland Chi, who's the keeper of the Holocron. He's always there to kind of like keep us inform us.
Not too far. Yeah.
Well, no, it's more like, I mean, because it's not even about, I don't think, David, it ever like gets into a place where like, oh no, you can't do that. It's more like just about kind of going, well, would this make like, because there's always an internal logic, like, when David's writing these things, there's always an internal logic to it, like even if it is kind of, it's not canon, but it makes sense with canon, right? Like that's kind of the thing.
You never want to lose the feel of Star Wars. Lego Star Wars is its own thing, but it's it's all in the name, Lego Star Wars. So it should still feel like a Star Wars thing. Which not a very scientific term. And Ken's right.
Not yet.
You're right. Now it is a Star Wars thing. Let's get it trending. It's never done in a restrictive way. It's always sort of, does this make sense in the story? Does this make sense for the character? Obviously, the Lego characters we get to expand a little bit. I've mentioned a couple people like even when whether it's our legacy actors or the actors who played these characters in other animated series, or the actors who are, when they're playing these characters, they're doing Lego versions of those characters. And so oftentimes that means bringing a little more humor to it, or a little more self-awareness, or maybe being a little more cockeyed to it, and all of which is really fun and great and totally permissible. And so I think it's a fun way to get to explore those sides of those characters.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's very successful. And it's so fun, and it's always interesting to see like everyone online worry about like, oh my God, is this actually something that happened or is gonna happen? And I think that's a really cool thing that you guys have done with these Lego specials. It's just like, hey, don't worry about it, just have fun and enjoy the ride, because that's all that we can do. And it's all about the messaging and about all the fun. And speaking of the fun,
you sound like Anakin's Force Ghost. To just enjoy it. That's perfect.
I have been known to rise from the oceans sometimes in a beach up somewhere, allegedly. But speaking to that magic of of Star Wars and Lego and like having fun, what's that magic sauce, so to speak, of Lego and Lego Star Wars? Because we've seen like this journey, right, of Star Wars and Lego of two different things, and Lego has always been humorous in terms of how it deals with all the films that they've done, and Star Wars has always been kind of still always kid friendly, but still in the serious mythical side. So how did this come about, like this marriage of like Lego Star Wars and the wonderful thing that it's become now?
It obviously predates us. I think it really goes all the way back to the early video games, and then the TV series that Michael Price wrote, and later Freemaker Adventures. So we're really, I look at us as sort of gatekeepers of a tradition, and we try to, and as fun as that's, like, we really do take that seriously. We want that feeling. It's one of those things. It's like one of those main things in life. It's like, it's very hard to sort of articulate or analyze, but it almost by feel. I definitely think Lego, and particularly Lego in video games and in their movies and other series, like, they bring a sense of not just creativity but whimsy. And so you're always kind of looking for that moment visually, again, as I was saying earlier about the characters, a place to put in jokes. So you kind of know it when you see it, and when it feels off, you can also tell. You just sort of know. You know that in the writing, you know in the visuals, you can tell it in a performance. And when it's right, you go, oh no, that's it. That's what it should be.
Well, that's very exciting. I mean, I think we've reached like the end of our time. So I just want to say thank you. And it looks like you guys are building what I'm gonna, if no one's termed it up before, I'm gonna coin it like the Star Wars Lego verse. So like, I'm very excited to see like how it goes, and what's the Avengers Endgame moment of like this, this seasonal series that we've created so much. But kind of to end on one of the cool messages, right, from the specialist, like, although the trip eventually ends, the memories never do. So thank you guys so much for answering some of our questions, and we hope to see more Lego Star Wars in the future. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Have a good one.